Hola, Nay. How are you? Okay, okay, no problem. Ahí les puse, ahí les puse en el chat el link a YouTube.
Hello.
A mí no le andaba muy bien internet, así que seguramente se está uniendo.
Gracias.
Meli, te pongo de co-host por las dudas, ¿sí?
Dale.
I am going, teacher. I leave you as a host and I leave.
Okay. Do we have the connection with the
YouTube.
YouTube?
Yes, I sent you the link by WhatsApp and
Okay.
here on the chat as well. The link to YouTube.
Okay. And a question. Last question, Andrea.
Yes.
The link, wait.
The link
This
to
is the
join.
link that I have to post later.
Yes, I already posted for you the link to your meetings, which is always the same.
Okay.
And by WhatsApp and here on the chat the link to YouTube.
Can you put it in the chat?
Yes, it is already posted there.
In the chat?
The link to YouTube. Yes.
Okay.
Box and
I cannot see
by
it.
WhatsApp as well.
Okay. Great. Great. And what shall I do afterwards? Nothing.
Nothing. You just leave the room.
Good. Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrea. Go and have lunch.
I have to prepare it first. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Good. Well, thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi, teacher.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
She said that she posted the link, but I...
Yes, it is there.
I already posted it again.
There. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Great. Okay. How are you?
Fine.
How are you doing with the writing?
Fine too.
Great. Do you have any doubts as regards that?
No.
Great. Have you started? Wait. Trump. Tell me if the connection cuts, because this morning I had a lot of problems with the internet. So tell me if it gets cut, I cancel the video and there it improves a little bit. Okay. Have you started with the analysis of Donald Trump's speech?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Would you like to start with that, or and we leave or we start with the theory, the explanation of chapter 6, as you want?
I think I'd prefer to check Donald Trump's analysis.
Good. As regards, I don't know the rest, but as regards, briefly, I'm going to say something briefly because I think that it is quite easy and quite clear, the part of the explanation and interpretation. What you have to take into account there is that when we approach a text, any kind of text, maybe a political speech, maybe any kind of text, we approach a text with all our background experience, with the members' resources, as it says here, that is the same as what we saw in pragmatics as a presupposition, background knowledge, etc. Okay, so the different people approaching the same speech are going to find different elements as regards the interpretation. Okay, for example, if suppose those who support Donald Trump are going to interpret Donald Trump's speeches in a different way from those who support Biden, for example. Yes?
Yes.
It has to do with ideology, with your ideology. Yes? And that's why the same speech is interpreted differently by different newspapers, for example. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Then, if you have any doubts as regards any part, I think that it is quite clear what the part that you have, the part of text structure, you have situational context that is the same as a register. You have the part of intertextuality that you have, I mean, that you already know. You have the part of schemata that is the same as genre. Different names, but the same, let's say, the same idea, yes? And the part of intertextuality, that part has to do with other speeches, for example, in political speech, you know, it has to do with other speeches, when, for example, certain politicians react or mention in their speeches something that was said by a certain newspaper, by a certain reporter, by, I mean, when they cite or they mention certain ideology that is based on some philosopher, for example, yes, there we speak of intertextuality, yes. And let me see if there is anything, well, filter or mode, the part of speech acts, that part, sorry, one important point, presuppositions, and that is very important on page 154, that they say sincere or manipulative, yes? When we presuppose with our ideologies and with our prejudices, yes? We cannot separate, I mean, the speaker presupposes a certain element, but we as interpreters also presuppose that he meant so and so. Yes, and probably it is not clearly mentioned in the speech. Yes, and certain presuppositions are manipulative, especially when they try to manipulate by negation. Yes, I mean, they negate, they use the negative to refer to what someone else has said without mentioning that person, but they don't, I mean, they write what it is not, but they don't write what it is. Or they say what it is not, but they don't say what it is, because they believe that people will understand, and they are interested in people understanding what they want them to understand, because they believe in their shared background knowledge and in their shared ideology. Sometimes politicians speak for a certain audience, for their followers, and sometimes they speak for their opponents. And sometimes in the same speech, you have a part that is clearly addressed to their followers and another part that is clearly addressed to their opponents. Yes?
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes? Great. The part of speech acts, well, you know speech act theory, and what Fairclough says here is that in the case of speech acts, the speech act can have more than one interpretation. Sorry, I have to. And more than one force sometimes. The same speech act may have more than, who says? Yes, Juliana, it is going to be there. The link to YouTube is above, so you will have a chance of watching it later.
Thank you, teacher.
Good. I was speaking about speech acts. The same speech act can perform different, can have different forces at the same time. Yes? when you make an utterance, for example, you say, for example, be careful what you say. It can have the force of a warning, but at the same time, it can have the force of a threat. And that can be interpreted in different ways by different speakers. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yes? I mean, be careful how you address her, suppose, can be a piece of advice, can be a threat, can be a warning. And this happens when we are communicating in our everyday exchanges with friends, and that sometimes they say, are you threatening me? Are you? Yes. And probably it was not the intention, but the same speech act can be interpreted in different ways, again, depending on our background experiences, our life experiences, and our mood of the moment. Doesn't it happen to you that there are certain days in which you misinterpret and you are more sensitive to what other people say?
Yes.
Yes.
You feel more on the defensive?
Yes.
Believe it or not, politicians are human beings and have the same feelings. Sometimes. Okay?
Yes.
So again, nothing is white or black. Everything is gray. Okay?
Okay.
Yes? Let me see if there is anything else that is worth mentioning. Well, I suppose not. Then you asked me if you have any doubts. The idea of this, well, this year we are not going to be writing the interpretation, but what I want to say about political speeches, and this is for the final exam, is that first you perform a deep analysis, as we are doing now, and then when you analyze, you choose what is more outstanding in order to focus on that aspect. Yes? It is not that in an analysis you're going to include everything. But for example, when you prepare for the final exam, that I give you a speech a day before the oral exam, I give you speech, you have time to analyze, you perform a deep analysis. Yes, you have to perform a deep analysis of everything, but then you have to prepare your presentation. And what is it that you do in your presentation? You choose to start by the most outstanding elements. Yes? In general, I ask students to start with the part of ideology that is the most interesting. Yes? I'm not very much interested in your telling me that he uses 3 or 4 or 5 parallel structures, except if you want to say he uses parallel structures and repetition in order to make this idea more memorable. Not that he uses it to make it more memorable, to make this idea more memorable, because in this speech, his objective is to transmit or to persuade people that this is the right way, or that this is the right course of action, etc., etc. Okay? I don't want analysis in the abstract. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have any doubts as regards that?
No, at least I don't.
Okay, good. Well, let's go to the speech. Well, it's a long speech, but have you all analyzed it? Well, if not, say no, don't say anything. What is the field of this speech?
The partnership between the USA and the Muslim world.
Yes.
I-
Could be, yes, partnership. I don't like that, but well, yeah, could be. The idea is taking action against what?
Terrorism.
Terrorism.
Yes, terrorism. An alliance.
Or taking action, whatever for. An alliance in order to combat
Terrorism.
the enemy, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Well, in the case of the tenor, you have the participants there. We're not going to waste time with that. What kind of relationship is there between them?
For me, it's neutral, but I am not sure.
It's formal.
Formal.
Yes.
It's formal because it is a requirement whenever a politician or a president is speaking, I mean, if visiting another country, there is a level of formality because there are certain, let's say, conditions that, I mean, certain requirements that have to be fulfilled as regards
Protocol. The protocol to follow a
protocol. Yeah, that's the word that I needed. Thank you. Even the dressing is part of the protocol. Yes.
Mhm.
Good. Now, if we are going to use, wait a sec. Okay. Field tenor mode. Well, any subfields? Have you identified any subfields? He's been manipulative, my God.
Maybe the promotion of tolerance and moderation.
Yes.
And that is, he's looking for partnership.
An alliance.
Mhm.
He needs them.
Because of their strategic place.
Mm-hmm.
He mentions that.
Yes.
And also he mentioned that that is his first international visit to a foreign country in his government.
Yes. Well, and another is terrorism, no? Another subfield, terrorism itself.
Yes.
Because he mentions terrorism and he describes and he mentions it more than once, no?
Yes, the
Yes.
different groups also.
Yes. Let me see. Okay, now, let me see. Let's analyze the part of modalization and modulation. Which is prevalent and why?
Modalization. He uses a lot of modals that indicate certainty, will. It is the most used.
Mm-hmm.
He also uses the modal must to indicate importance and should also.
Good.
And
Why?
you don't find any instance of modulation.
Okay, I don't remember if there was any, but why is it that he uses modalization and not modulation? He's negotiating, no?
Yes.
He is negotiating. He is not exercising his position of power, even though he knows that he's more powerful.
Teacher, could we check the use of will in the speech? Because I thought that when he used will in this case, he used it more times for modulation.
Okay, let me see.
So as a conclusion, I thought that there was more modulation, and now I'm scared.
Yes, me too.
Tell me the lines. Because line 11, that is modalization. Prediction.
Line 11. Yes, and for instance, in line 30, our
on
military
line,
on line 30.
Line 30. For me, it is prediction. What did you find there? How did you mark it?
As modulation.
Meaning what?
I'm not sure. I analyzed it.
Because modulation will be determination, and I don't think it is in the subordinate clause. One thing is to say, I will, they will, but here it is in a subordinate clause.
Okay.
Tell me the others, let's analyze them. I mean, this is good in order to, to clear off all the doubts that you may have, okay?
Yes.
I lowered this because I need to see the speech. Sorry, but you don't need to see my face. Tell me another line.
Let me see. Line 41. Later today, we will make history again.
Again, for me, it is prediction. Try, you know, who is speaking? Paula, no?
Yes.
I suppose that you said modulation because you are thinking of determination, no? What are you thinking of?
Yes, determination.
Okay. Do you think that he will say, later today, we will make history again? No, I think that he will say, we will make history. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes. I try to listen to the original audio so that I see how he says it. Maybe with that I can find it more easily.
I don't know. I haven't listened to it. But I don't think that he said we will. because you cannot be determined to make history. I don't know. And in this context, in which he is visiting another country, determination will indicate that he is exerting a position of power.
Yes.
And that's not the idea. He's trying to manipulate. He's being, I know that it is strange in Donald Trump, but he's trying to be, let's say, kind,
Yes.
mild in his position. But
So
again,
generally, when they want to be more persuasive, they use prediction rather than determination.
yeah. It's not that they use prediction. They do not use determination.
Right.
When you use determination, especially with the first person, you are showing that you are in a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not sociably acceptable as regards protocol, as regards international relations. He's being humble here. This is not Donald Trump. That's why I
Yes.
use this speech. This is not typical of him.
I noticed that.
Yeah. He's, I wanted you to see that how politicians adapt their ways, their speeches to different circumstances. This speech is completely manipulative. He's saying what he's expected to say and in the way that he's expected to be saying it.
Yes.
He's not campaigning. When politicians are campaigning, they use more modulation because they show determination. They have to show that they are leaders in control of the situation. They have to show a different image of themselves. But when they are negotiating with other countries, especially when they are visiting other countries, yes, they cannot go and exert their and show that they are powerful. Of course, we know that
Yes.
the United States is the most powerful nation in the world, and Saudi Arabia is subjected to the United States because of the oil trade, etc. That they have businesses together, etc., etc. But here, he needs them because he needs some ally in the Muslim world in order to fight terrorism.
Yes.
Yes? Do you get the idea? Let me see if there is anything. Tell me the others that you have marked. I want you not to have any doubts about it.
Here, where it says online 13,
line
113, Middle East will have to decide.
What kind of future will they want for themselves? And how did you mark it? What kind? I mean, it is, you mark it as modulation, but what kind of modulation? When you mark it as modulation, try to find what kind of, I mean, what meaning?
Yes. No,
I
acá
think
no lo anoté
again,
por eso.
I think
No me
again it
acuerdo.
is prediction. What about the rest? For me, it is prediction. He's predicting that they will have to decide.
Yes. I agree.
What about the rest? Hello? Well, any other?
No, asumo que los demás que marqué como modulation también serían modalization. Here.
Paula, see what I was saying before, and what you have in the part of interpretation or analysis, that depending on the context, depending on the kind of speech, depending on all that, you interpret and you analyze things differently.
Yes.
Yes? But whenever you identify any modal as modalization or modulation, take into account, I mean, what you have to do is find the right meaning. Is it determination? Is it prediction? Is it request?
Yes.
Is it, okay? Because that will help you. But analyze it in the context, but in the situational context. We associate modulation with exerting a position of power. Yes?
Yes.
Is it clear for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't worry, you are learning. Good. Modalization, modulation. Well, in the case, why do you think they have not used modulation? Okay, there you can explain that it is because he's negotiating, he wants to sound polite and etc., no?
Mm.
Yes.
Great. Modalization. Is the speaker speaking from his mind or from his heart?
Can there be a mixture?
Yes. In this speech, there is a mixture. Again, because he is manipulating. He wants to show himself as a human being.
Or
Okay.
can he be trying to, oh, I'm sorry, to show that he's speaking from his heart, but he's speaking from his mind because he needs an alliance.
Yeah. Let's see where have you identified him
Okay.
speaking from his mind? Because here we have a mixture.
Yes, we found that, for instance, when we analyze the processes, there is more prevalence of mental processes. But I think Meli found expressions that show like this idea of a more emotional approach to the topic.
What kind of mental? Mental cognition or mental emotive? Mental cognitive or mental emotive?
Cognitive.
Okay. What is important here is to identify when he uses mental cognitive to refer to what. And if he uses mental emotive, when and to refer to what.
Good.
Is it clear? Because the idea is that he uses one and the other, again, because he is negotiating, he's trying to sound polite, understanding, etc., etc. Yes. So I don't remember now, but can you tell me, because I have a clean copy here, where, because at the beginning, when he starts, when he expresses his gratitude for being there, for having been received, etc., etc. Well, that is convention, and he wants to show himself as emotive, no?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Because of
when
the
he's
words that he uses. My deep and heartfelt gratitude. Come on. Okay. You greatly honor us with your presence.
Yes, he's kind of exaggerated.
Yes. Hyperbole here, there, and everywhere.
also when he talks about the future of children,
Yeah.
of a better life for women, children, followers of all faiths.
Again, see how he's using that to manipulate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because in fact, if we think of Trump's ideology, we know that he only cares about the well-being of the United States and combating terrorism in order to protect the United States. Yes?
Yes, that can be a presupposition because we know.
Yes, we presuppose, but that is, okay, we presuppose that, but probably some supporter of Trump will have another presupposition. We have an idea of Trump, okay? We have certain prejudices, and that's why we approach the text with that that the Fairclough calls the members' resources, or the previous background knowledge or background experience, background knowledge, our knowledge of history, because we have we have listened to his other speeches when he was campaigning, for example, before he became president. The idea that how he spoke about foreigners, well, you realize that he only cared about the WASP, you know, the white Anglo-Saxon American, no?
Yes.
And his ideas about terrorism and about the Muslim world were very clear, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. You are seeing beyond. That's what I want. This is useful also to listen to our politicians. I won't get involved in politics, in Argentinian politics, but if you listen to all the politicians, this is applicable to all.
Yes.
Being campaigning or not.
Teacher.
But if you listen to politicians when they are campaigning, and then their speeches, once they are in power, when they are exerting their position of power, their speech changes, their speeches change completely. Yes, someone wanted to ask me something.
Yes, I wanted to ask you a question. Is it okay to say that he uses mental cognitive processes when he is talking about strategies, or when he wants to tell Muslims the consequences that they will have to face if they do not act against terrorism?
That's
Because,
perfect.
for instance, on line
That's
90,
perfect. But you need to say that he wants to show himself as a rational person.
Okay.
And persuade through that showing of being rational. Because the problem is that when if you say it by using mental emotive, you are not wait, I have to sorry. If he used, in that case, mental emotive, that could be questioned. He's speaking from his heart. You know that when they say, when you are emotive, you are being irrational. Okay? So in this case, he wants to show that what he's saying comes from something that has been well thought of that he's being rational, that he's not being emotive, that he has thought about it and thought and rethought, suppose. Yes?
Yes.
That is very important. In general, politicians show that they are emotive when there is a catastrophe, when they speak about people suffering. They want to show that they are human beings that have feelings, okay?
Yes.
Again, everything is done for a purpose. And what I want you to analyze is what purpose you think he has. Again, taking into account historical context, your background knowledge, you have a right to interpret things in the way you interpret them, okay? As long as you justify it, as long as you support your ideas, it is correct. You can say, I believe that he's doing so and so because when he was campaigning, he did, I mean, he spoke differently. Yes?
Yes.
Great.
Teachers, I
Yes.
have doubts with the verb see. There's a part when he says see like 4 times, and I'm not sure whether it is a a mental cognitive verb or not.
Tell me the lines.
It's line 103 and 105.
When we see the scenes, mental perceptive. We see no signs that those murder, mental perceptive. And then
Dos líneas más abajo,
we cannot
105.
see the 105. Let me see. When we look upon the streams of blood, the images that he uses here,
Yes.
soaked into the ancient ground. Oh, the metaphors here are wonderful. I think it is mental perceptive.
Okay.
What about the rest? What do you think? I see this as mental perceptive because he's describing, no?
Yes, I was doubting, especially when he talks about see the faith. Like,
Yeah, okay.
maybe it's understand.
No.
Okay.
No. Because the idea is perceive which sect of faith or tribe they belong to. It's metaphorical because you cannot see the face. I mean, the faith is something that you cannot see, but it is metaphorical. But the idea for me is perception here. Mental perceptive. What about the rest? Tell me. I'm not exerting my position of authority. It's my perception.
I had the same doubts. So
I see it as perception because he's describing. No? It's not
yes.
When we understand the scenes, when we understand the faith, no. When we understand all, no. If you try to paraphrase it, it doesn't make sense. For me, he's trying to give a mental picture of what you perceive in the case of, I mean, people who are murdered. I mean, those scenes of horror, let's say, no? Okay. Any other doubt as regards processes?
Yes, let me find the document because I have different copies. There were some other verbs with I had some doubts. For instance, on line 124, he says, our friends will never question our support. Question here could be mental. A mental cognitive, I mean.
Let me see the context. Yeah.
Because I know it could be verbal, but I feel it like, yeah.
No. Because of what follows. And our enemies will never doubt our determination. What follows is also mental, cognitive, doubt.
Great.
Yeah.
Finally.
Mental, cognitive.
Algo bien.
Good. See
And
how the context plays an important role in the identification.
Yes.
Yes.
At least one yes. Good, 2 yes.
On the same line,
Yes.
on the same line, the verb doubt is that mental cognitive.
Yes.
Also.
Yes. That's yeah.
Great.
That's why I say question and doubt. They are kind of. I mean, our friends will never question our support, and our enemies will never doubt our determination. There is a kind of parallelism there. If you look at how the sentence is written, no? Our friends,
Yes.
our enemies. I mean, you have antonymy, never question, never doubt, synonymy, our support, our determination. Well, object, another participant. Yes?
Yes.
Great. Any other doubt?
No.
No? Great. Metaphors. Well, you have a lot of metaphors here.
Yes.
First, we can see the metaphor. We're not going to be analyzing all, but let's say, why don't you start mentioning some metaphors, and let's first, why do you think that he used metaphors in this speech?
I think that he uses a lot of metaphors which are related to religion or Bible because he wants to be close to the Muslim and their beliefs, I think. Because he says holy land, treasured home, children of God. So I think that he tries to be close to them in some way.
Yeah, he wants to show that he is, let's say, understanding, that he's tolerant, something that he's not. But yes, but on the other hand, he uses also metaphors when he describes the part that we saw just a few minutes ago, when he describes the murders. I mean, which line was it? 100 and...
Yeah, the streams of blood, something like that.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, or when he says, drive them out of this earth.
There, in order to create an impact.
Yes.
No?
This part is on 104, 105. Stream of innocent blood.
Yeah, soaked. Oh my God. into the ancient ground. Well, see the faith, there you have also a metaphorical use of language, because you cannot see the faith or sect or tribe, no?
Yes, teacher, I have some doubts with religious metaphors. Maybe because I have them so naturalized that I don't feel them as metaphors. But for instance, when he says holy place, holy land, are those metaphors too?
Tell me the lines.
For instance,
Ancient ground is a metaphor, because the ground is not ancient.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. The others that you said?
Line 17. Here, ancient ground.
Well, custodian, that is a metaphor. Holiest sites, no. It's not a metaphor. Probably it is a hyperbole, an exaggeration. No?
Good.
Yes.
Okay, maybe because it's in the Islamic faith, yeah, it could be or not. Let me see, on line 20, to outstretch our hands in the spirit of cooperation and trust. Well, all that in the spirit of outstretch our hands.
In that case, should we mark the whole line, like from 2?
It's all metaphoric. So yes, you can mark it all as metaphoric. And they are our hands.
Yeah.
Because he says outstretch, not stretch our hands. So probably there we have a case of synecdoche.
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
What else?
Teacher, when he says, drive them out of this earth, that is a metaphor, right? Because
Yes,
yes.
Yes.
Teacher, on line 57, where it says, those who practice terror is a metaphor?
Yes. Because you don't practice terror. And spread its vile creed also. Well, no, vile creed is also a dysphemism, no?
Yes.
Yes.
This is also rich in dysphemism, no? And in euphemism, I don't remember. I didn't have time to look at it again. But when you speak, for example, line 62, devastation, there it is dysphemism. Hyperbole also. The line 66, the deadliest toll. Yes.
Yes. I was going to ask that one, and also the one in the following line that says, borne the brunt.
They have borne the brunt of the killing. Yeah, there it is a metaphor, but it is, I suppose, I think that it is also dysphemism.
Great.
Fanatical violence can also be taken as dysphemism. You're going to notice that whenever he speaks about terrorism, he's going to use a lot of dysphemism and hyperbole. Yes? That is something that you can classify as something, saying something like this. Whenever he speaks about terrorism, he uses a lot of dysphemism and hyperbole, and you mention certain words or expressions with the number of lines in brackets.
Yes.
And when he speaks of the Muslim countries or the Muslim world, he uses a lot of euphemisms, right?
Yeah. Tell me, tell me where. Tell me the lines in order to.
On the first line, he says, "Magnificent Kingdom of Saudi Arabia."
But that's not euphemism. That probably will be hyperbole. Euphemism is when he speaks about, for example, the typical case when they are speaking about terrorism. Let's say they say the victims when they are speaking about their bombings and all that. Let me see if I can find any here.
What about, talking about euphemisms, what about line 52? The goal is to meet history's great test, to conquer extremism and vanquish the forces of terrorism.
That could be euphemism because the idea is to destroy, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, to defeat, that is.
Yeah.
Teacher, when he refers to the terrorists as barbaric criminals, is that euphemism?
As what? I couldn't catch.
He says that they are barbaric criminals.
That is dysphemism.
Dysphemism. Okay.
Remember that dysphemism is when you strengthen the negative.
Yes.
And euphemism is when you soften. Collateral damage, the typical euphemism.
Yes.
Collateral damage is when they kill a lot of thousands of people that, let's say, innocent people who have nothing to do with terrorism. They soften the impact of what they are saying.
Okay.
Can, for instance, deadliest tool be an euphemism?
Deadliest tools. Let me see. Tell me the line.
I don't have the exact numbers here because my document changed when I downloaded it, but it is near line 70.
Because I forgot to upload the PDF. Okay. Near 70.
It starts with, but in sheer numbers, the deadliest toll has been exacted.
Yes, I think it's 67 in our document, or in mine at least.
In sheer, the deadliest toll has been exacted. In this case, as they refer, let me see. This is euphemism. Yes.
Yes. Great.
Yes.
Teacher, is the word terrorist a dysphemism? Because
no.
I mean,
No.
Okay.
But if you have some adjective some strong adjective, like, for example, a brutal terrorist there, yes, you speak of.
Yes. He calls them extremist terrorists.
The point is that there, terrorism is extremist in itself.
Yes.
It would be kind of redundant, no?
Okay.
You said, what did you say? Dysphemism.
Yes.
Could be. Could be. But terrorism it's in itself is extremist. But could be, I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, could be taken as dysphemism. Yeah.
Teacher, I have some doubts as regards nominalization.
Okay, wait a sec. Line 76, did you identify flock as metaphor to which newcomers flock?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't.
Flock. No.
There, I saw it and, well.
And on the same line, refugees flee. Is that a metaphor or not? Or is it literal?
No, because flee is used as the idea of escaping.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But flock, yes, because flock is not used for people. Birds of a feather flock together, remember? The saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other doubts as regards dysphemism, euphemism, metaphors? If not, we go to nominalization.
Yes, I have one as regards metaphor, but I can't find the copy in which I have it marked. Here it is. As regards interpersonal metaphor.
Okay, but let's finish with lexical.
Okay.
Lexical metaphors, no more doubts?
No.
So as not to mix. Lexical metaphors, no more doubt?
No.
Oh my God. Can you hear me? Because my...
Yes.
I have a... no, because it says that my internet connection is not stable. So it appears constantly. And so probably when I was having class with the third year,
yes, it's cutting a little bit, but
my voice. Okay, I will cancel the video.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's see if it works better. Okay. No more doubts about lexical metaphors.
I have one more doubt, but I'm not sure whether it is whether it is lexical metaphor or not. On line 174.
170.
Where it says, in that spirit, after concluding my visit.
No, there are no metaphors there.
Okay.
You mean because in that spirit?
Yes.
The point is that there he's using it as a synonym of hope, dignity, etc. No?
Mm-hmm.
Because he says, make this region a place where every man and woman, no matter their faith or ethnicity, can enjoy a life of dignity and hope.
Yes.
So I think that it is, He uses it synonymously.
Good. Then I have no more doubts.
Great. Okay, let's go to nominalization that you, Paula, asked me that you had doubts, and then with interpersonal metaphors. First, nominalization.
Right.
Tell me.
It's like a rather general doubt. For instance, with words like agreements, investments, on lines 30 and 34, these kind of words are nominalizations.
Let me see. Depending on the context, let me see. Line 34.
Yesterday, we signed historic agreements.
No. In general, you have nominalization when you have a relational process. The agreement we made yesterday was, but here you have a process, a material process. We signed historic agreement. No. We have a material process.
You said with relational processes, right?
In general, with relational. Yes. Yeah, and in general, with the verb to be.
Great.
Because what you have to try and do is transform, for example, the agreements we made yesterday as regards another word, we made agreements yesterday. But here, we signed historic agreements, you can't do that.
Good. So on line 36, for instance, would it be nominalization, this landmark agreement?
Yeah, that yes.
Yes.
Because it includes here could be it's a material. No, it's not a material. It's there. It's between a material and a relational here. Because I think that it has, no?
Yes.
It's that idea. It's not that it is a material process in itself.
And
no?
in the following sentence, this agreement will help the Saudi military.
No, here no. Again, if you try to make this, we agreed will help, no.
Okay.
Let me see. Any other nominalization or doubts about nominalization? For example, line 41, here we have a special case of nominalization. We will make history with the opening of a new global center for combating, well, I don't remember.
Ah, the opening. Yeah.
There, even though you don't have a relational processes, but we opened.
Yes.
Any other?
Maybe line 115.
Remember, before I forget, remember that when you use nominalize, I mean, when politicians use nominalization is because they want to present that information as a fact, not to be questioned, as a truth, okay? It is a
Yes.
choice between two futures. No. No, because if you try to turn it into it, we choose between two futures. No.
Okay.
Well, there after that you have drive them out, drive them out, drive them out, drive. Well, there is repetition for a purpose.
Yes.
No? Let me see. Line 132, there, the first task in this joint effort, that could be taken as nominalization because we joined effort for our nations, no?
Yes.
So he takes it for granted. No doubt that there is a joint effort, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get it?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Then, for instance, on line 134, I think that wouldn't be nominalization, but I want to check it out, where it says significant contributions.
No, because you have making.
Great.
If you had it in another way, the significant contributions we are making are there, yes. Do you get the difference, Paula?
Yes.
Well, I cannot find any.
What about line 147? It is another historic step in a day that will be long remembered.
No.
Okay.
Remember to try and make the change. Because there, which word, another historic step, I mean, step is the only one that can be made into a process. If it were not nominal, I mean, and wouldn't make sense. No, I think that we don't. Well, then go through it and see if you can find any and you ask me so as not to waste so much time, okay? But remember that you need to make the transformation. I mean, change it into, I mean, turn the noun into a process to see if it makes sense. If it makes sense, it can be, okay?
Yes.
Yes.
For example, they destroyed the cities. the
Destruction.
yeah, sorry, I was sidetracked by by one of my cats. The destruction of the cities. Yes.
Yes.
So if you have the destruction of the cities was so they destroyed. I mean, you turn the noun into a process, see if it makes sense, and there you can see whether it is nominalization or not. Okay.
Yes.
Now, interpersonal metaphors. Remember that when we have, I think, someone asked about the interpersonal metaphors, no?
Yes.
I don't remember who.
Yes, I asked about it. I have a question as regards the mood interpersonal metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is on line 215 or nearby. There are a series of questions with will. Will we be indifferent in the presence of evil? Well, etc.
Perfect. That is interpersonal metaphor because he's not asking a question. He's manipulating.
Right.
Perfect. Who was it? Caro.
Yes.
Very good.
Thanks.
Then I don't remember now, but if you have, I think, I believe, those are also interpersonal metaphors. When they say, I think, I believe, we say that they are asserting something by means of those mental cognitive verbs. They give us an idea of certainty, no? Remember the case in which those words, those mental cognitive can be used in order to give an idea of certainty, of modalization?
Yes.
If not, revise it from. I'll tell you the pages, wait a sec. Bartolo. Sorry, it's my cat. No, my cat, no, my dog. Bartolo. Page 246 by Thompson. There you have all the part of interpersonal metaphors that you have indirect speech acts, the part of modality, objective modality. Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Revise it and ask me, I mean, the new ones, the ones that come from Juan 23, ask me if you have doubts about it. Well, and the others too, because we saw it last year, but you may have forgotten. In general, we say that it is interpersonal metaphor where we use certain verbs or expressions. I am certain that, I'm sure that, I doubt. For example, the one that we had before, I doubt, I think there was the one doubt. I doubt something that indicates uncertainty. So we say that it is an interpersonal metaphor. Yes. And the other kind of interpersonal metaphor is when we use, for example, an interrogative, but not to ask a question, or an affirmative to make a request, polite, impolite. For example, in the case of indirect speech acts, for example, the typical case that everybody knows, it's cold in here. That is an interpersonal metaphor because it is a way of making a request, no? By an indirect speech act.
Yes.
Am I mixing up too many things? Agustina, Melissa?
No, I'm getting it.
Gloria?
Thank
Do you get it?
I am on the way.
Okay. Ask me if you have any doubts, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, now, euphemism, dysphemism, inclusive and exclusive we.
I have another doubt because I found that, in my opinion, there are two different exclusive we, which are one that is when Trump speaks about the Americans. So he speaks about the American country as our in terms of he himself and the citizens. But then he speaks about the countries against terrorism, I think. And he uses another exclusive we. I don't know if I am understanding it right or if it is wrong. Like when he says...
Tell me the lines. Tell me the lines, Caro.
Yes. Let me check. On lines 30 or near those lines, it starts with, for Americans, this is an exciting time.
It is 28.
Oh, 28, thank you.
For Americans, it's excited.
I have the same doubt.
Yeah, the point is that this speech is particular because he is not speaking about he himself and his government. When he uses inclusive, he is American. And I don't remember if there was a case in which that we refers only to the government. He's speaking more. Could be.
What about on line 48? He says, we are not here to lecture. We are not here to tell other people how to live, what to do, bling, bling, bling. We are here to offer partnership. Is that we talking about politicians from
the government? Not politicians,
yes, sorry, the government.
I think that here we have two kinds of inclusive we, not exclusive, inclusive. The we of the government and the we of the American people. Especially because of the context. Exclusive will be when the we refers to all the world, the Americans and the Saudi Arabians. But I think that here he uses two kinds of inclusive, because he is abroad, but representing the United States and the American people. He is the leader of the country and he is representing that country. Do you get Do you get it?
Yes, but at the same time, he is with other governments fighting against terrorism. So that is the other inclusive we.
The inclusive is both the one when he refers to his government, he as a leader, and the one in which he refers to the American people. Those are the two kinds of inclusive. And then,
And what about when he refers, because there is some part on line 204 where I think he refers to politicians, like he and the politicians from Saudi Arabia and other Middle East governments. He says, we in this room are the leaders of our peoples. Could it be another type of
it's
inclusive?
another kind of inclusive.
Okay, so 3 inclusives.
Yeah. Sorry. Another kind of exclusive. Sorry, I say it the other way around. Sorry. It doesn't include, it excludes. Sorry. Exclusive we.
Why? Because I feel like he's including the audience, like the ones who are in that room.
Yeah, but not the world.
I think he refers to the government, the Saudi Arabian and the Americans, the authorities.
Only the Saudi Arabian and the American governments. That's why it is exclusive. Sorry. It would be 3 kinds of exclusive, not of inclusive. I said it the other way around. I don't know why. Sorry. 3 kinds of exclusive. Exclusive we when he refers to the American people. Doesn't include all the audience. It's the American people. Exclusive we when he refers to the American government. And exclusive we when he refers to the political leaders present there. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was not thinking. Yes? So in different parts of the text, what you need to analyze is where he uses exclusive we to refer to the American people and why, where he uses exclusive we to refer to the American government and why, where he uses exclusive we to refer to the politicians present in that place and why, and where he uses inclusive. That I think that here he uses few inclusive. And I don't know if you have noticed, well, probably it's the first speech that we analyze of Donald Trump. When Donald Trump speaks, gives speeches in general in the United States, he uses I.
He has here too.
Yeah, but not so much.
Teacher, I don't think I understand when it is inclusive or exclusive. Is it when it includes the audience or?
Yeah, but depends on the context. Inclusive is when it includes all the people in the world. Human people as human beings, let's say.
Well, so he's not including terrorists here, so it is.
Of course, that's why. And in fact, if you pay attention to this speech, terrorists are participants in this speech. but they are never made part of we. They are they.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
You have to take into account who are the participants. The participants are all the people mentioned. Inclusive we would include all the participants. This is special speech because it is not a speech made by a president to his citizens. In that case, it is clear that when he refers to the government, it is exclusive we, and when he refers to the American people, it will be inclusive, okay? But here, we have many other participants in the text. That's why we have different kinds of exclusive and well, I think that no inclusive, I suppose, here, because the terrorists are never taken into account, probably, I don't know, on some rare case, but I don't think that he includes the terrorists in the we. Yes?
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Well, any metonymy or, well, synecdoche, we identified one. Metonymy?
Maybe when mentioning the White House, can it be a metonymy?
The White House is a metonymy, yes.
Great.
And I think here he mentions, let me see. When he says at the beginning, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that is a metonymy because he says for hosting, and a kingdom doesn't host anything.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher, why is it metonymy and not synecdoche? Synecdoche?
Because synecdoche is when you use a part to refer to the whole. When you say, for example, you use hands to refer to workers, minds to refer to the, let's say, scientists of a country.
Good. And
But here
metonymy
it
would
is
be
not
the other way around.
Yes?
Yes.
Have a look. I think that in one of the PowerPoints, I explained the difference in the part of Cook. I explained the difference between metonymy and synecdoche.
Yes.
Yes,
It's in the PowerPoint.
Okay. Yes.
Remember now.
With the audio. There's an audio, I think.
Yes, the PowerPoint with an audio. But it was when we saw the part of analysis of advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we have. Let me see. Oh well, we are short of time, but I would like you, now that we have analyzed a lot and that we have, let's see, clear off certain or most of the doubts, I would like you to go through the speech and see the cases of presupposition and the part of ideology. That I don't know if you have done it.
Yes.
Only one
I
yes?
haven't.
Okay. Yeah, because I want everybody to do it. Yes. And so we can discuss it. I think, well, on Friday you have to hand in the essay. So let me see. No, but listen, we can do, when is it our next class? Our next class would be October the 11th.
November.
Sorry, November. Okay, that is the last class. I would like you to analyze that, and if you want, I'm going to upload another speech.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Great.
that you have more practice.
Great.
Yes, you're going to see that you will be more confident in the next speech. Yes. So on November the 11th, we see the part of ideology and the part of presupposition of this speech, and complete the speech that I'm going to upload. I'll try to upload one that is a little shorter, okay? And so, and I would like you to analyze the part of ideology and the part of presupposition, what you see as presupposition, the part of speech acts that Fairclough mentions, yes?
Yes.
And if needs be, we can have another class on the 13th, yes, that week.
Okay.
Yes.
Nevertheless, the week of the, let's say, of the 20th, let's say the last day of class, that week we are going to have a class.
Okay.
Yes, because the idea is to round off everything, to ask about all the doubts that you may have. And we speak about the final exam. I have already spoken about the final exam. But while you are doing analysis and all that, many doubts may come. And so we are going to use that week for the general doubts. Okay?
Okay.
And also for doubts that you may have as regards your writings that I will be finished correcting by that time. Okay?
Okay.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
So, I will upload another speech.
Can you repeat, please? It was cut.
I think that the guidelines that I gave you, Fairclough is probably more organized. I don't know. I don't know what you find. I cannot hear anything.
No, can you repeat because we couldn't hear you?
The audio was cut.
Oh, yes, it is cut. That Fairclough gives you in chapter 5 guidelines on the analysis that are similar to the ones that I gave you. You can use one or the other, but probably what you have in Fairclough is more detailed guidelines, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can make a mixture of both. Or complete these that I gave you with elements from Fairclough. Okay?
Yes.
Great.
But I would like you to focus on the part after you have done all the analysis, you can approach the text in a different way, after all that we have spoken about today, with the part of ideology, presupposition, yes?
Yes.
Perform a deeper analysis. Okay? Remember, You can get together if you want in groups of 3, 4. That is sometimes good because you exchange ideas, yes. But if you want to do it individually, it's okay. But it is better sometimes to get together. Because sometimes the exchange of ideas, sometimes we have our prejudices and we are restricted. And when we talk with other people, well, they make us see another angle. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Guys. Well, let's call it a day. I know that you're not going to be doing anything, so I'll try to upload a speech at the weekend so that you can start working. Because now I know that you have the essay. Remember to send it by email and to file it, I mean, save it with your name, please. Your name or your surname.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay.
So that then I can identify, okay? And to write your email, write it at the bottom of the page or at the top if you want, yes? So that then I can click it and send it.
Okay.
Yes? Okay? And if you want to send it in PDF, no problem, but better if you send it in Word.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Good. Well, guys, we'll be seeing you.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.